So with Jujutsu Kaisen's first course ending a few days ago with episode 13, I thought I'd make this video and say my thoughts on this first half of season 1. As of this time when I'm making the video, I'm still anime only on Jujutsu Kaisen. I was told to read it last year, but I'm really happy I waited to actually experience everything in anime format because it's been an experience and I've really enjoyed watching these last 13 weeks. And since this is actually my first Jujutsu Kaisen video on the channel, I thought the best thing to make would be this video sharing my experience and giving my honest thoughts on this first half. So before I go over and say my thoughts on the first half of this season, just a heads up, after this video goes live, I'll be catching up on the manga of Jujutsu Kaisen before the second course begins, which I believe is on the 15th of January, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to be making loads of Jujutsu Kaisen videos with the second course release, so look forward to that. And after the video, make sure to comment down below your favourite moments so far in the Jujutsu Kaisen anime, and also comment what kind of videos you want to see from me regarding the series. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and let's get right into the video. Jujutsu Kaisen has been nothing but straight up enjoyable. I think that almost every aspect of the story has been up to scratch, from the characters to the plot, the humour, the power system, which I personally think is some of the best and most interesting I've seen in regards to anime in general, the opening, ending, everything. And everyone knows the secret rule when it comes to watching anime: you know the show is doing something right if you never skip the opening. Literally, while watching Jujutsu Kaisen, I've never once reached for my mouse to get straight into the episode. So that has been an added bonus to watching the series for me, but it's definitely notable and has added to my enjoyment. But the opening aside, let me get into the characters, starting with the MC Yuji Itadori. With the start of the series, we are introduced to Yuji, who is this extremely physically gifted teenager who's essentially living just the normal life you'd expect a teenager to be living. So automatically he's very relatable and very likable. It was nice to see him, although briefly, interact in a high school setting, especially the part when his coach was trying to force him into joining the sports team. I found that very amusing. And although it took Yuji's grandfather's death for him to gain his motivation that we would see expand further down the line, I found the simplicity in his goal to be one that I can respect. He wants to save people and lead them to a correct death, and he also wants to be surrounded by people he cares about when he dies. So it's definitely something I could get behind in regards to an MC, especially when the world of Jujutsu Kaisen is one where accomplishing that goal is going to be very tedious. Especially with the circumstances that come with being a Jujutsu sorcerer, I'm looking forward to see how Yuji will change throughout the series. I feel like there's going to be many situations where he'll go against his chosen path, or be put in a situation where it's borderline impossible to save people without sacrifice. Which gets me into the next thing I wanted to talk about: Jujutsu Kaisen's villains. So this guy you see on the screen, Mahito, yeah, Mahito is definitely one of the most vile villains I've seen in a while. The whole situation with Junpei and his mother and the whole fight against Yuji and Nanami was absolutely amazing. Like, for a villain, he's really doing what he needs to do, and I really do dislike him, which means he's fulfilling his role as a villain perfectly. And even the part where he got jumped by Yuji and Nanami, that was definitely one to remember. I absolutely enjoyed that moment. But what I guess I like about Mahito is his whole childlike persona as a curse. And the fact that we can see how twisted he really is with his whole idol transfiguration technique of being able to turn people into curses and manipulate their souls, and even being able to change the shape of his own soul, allowing for different characteristics and abilities. It's just an awesome ability for a villain, so I already know further down the line Mahito is going to be a problem, and I'm looking forward to seeing him and Yuji meet again. Because when Mahito got Yuji to rage and say he would kill him, that whole scene was just crazy, and I want to see if Yuji can get revenge for Junpei himself. Because when Mahito used his domain expansion self-embodiment of perfection, it was literally wraps until Tsukuno came in clutch at the end. And speaking of Tsukuno, this part I'm going to keep really short, but I absolutely love the whole way they have Yuji and Tsukuno's relationship working in the series so far. Literally, Tsukuno is just straight up evil and he sticks to it. And I really hope they keep it this way throughout the series. Like, for reference with Naruto, I like the way that they did him and Kurama in the end, but I prefer if Yuji and Tsukuno only work together should they have pure interest to do so, and not just because Tsukuno just ends up liking Yuji over time. The way he's just been doing stuff purely for his own benefit has been amazing. Like, when he took out the special grade and went straight for Fushiguro, I was just straight up like, man, this guy is just pure evil. Like, he was literally looking for the best situation possible to make sure that Yuji would suffer, which is something I can definitely appreciate when it comes to the fact that he's literally the king of curses. But I just feel that the way they've been doing Yuji and Tsukuno's relationship is perfect. And you never know, maybe my opinion will change down the line, but for now I like the way that these two interact because it makes for some hilarious moments like this. However, I'm definitely also curious to the pact that they made when Tsukuno revived Yuji after taking out his heart, which I'm hoping we learn more about soon. And the last thing, or I guess person I have to talk about, you guys probably know where I'm going with this, is Gojo sensei. I personally think Gojo is a sensei done right, besides from being a complete character. And by this I mean I love the way he dialogues with people in the show, friend and foe alike. And his whole design and status of being the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer is so clear from the way he carries himself throughout the show. And when he fought Jogo, that fight was just an absolute wash. He was just bullying Jogo, and the whole concept of his infinity was just cool. And as I said in the beginning, I find Jujutsu Kaisen powers to be amazing, but the whole fight scene between Gojo and Jogo was handled really well. The animation was great. Him bringing Yuji midway through the fight to teach him about domain expansions was the icing on the cake. And when we saw his eyes in Infinite Void, I was just like, yeah, it makes sense that this guy is the strongest. However, with that being said, that's pretty much it for my thoughts on the first half of Jujutsu Kaisen. I didn't really go over the whole thing, I basically just talked about what I liked for the most part. Not to say what I didn't mention I didn't like, these are just things I really wanted to talk about. But yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen, I truly understand the hype, and I'm really happy that I didn't read it last year and that I got to experience it with the anime first before I dive into the manga. And if I had to rate it just off the 13 episodes we've had so far, easily a 9 out of 10. And I forgot to mention this in the main part of my video, so I'm just going to say it here in the outro, but this guy Geto literally has to be one of the shadiest people I've seen in a while. Like, we pretty much know nothing about him, but it just looks to me like he's the kind of person who loves being evil, so me and my brother are always laughing when we see him on the screen. So I'm definitely keeping an eye out for Geto during this series for sure. He's at the top of my list right now. But with that being said guys, that's it for the video. If you're new, subscribe to the channel and smash the like if you want to see more Jujutsu Kaisen content. And also comment what type of videos you want me to cover for the series. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.